In the silence of the deep earth, something ancient has stirred. Imagine standing in a cave so vast that no explorer has ever mapped its end. A place where the air itself moves in a steady rhythm, as though a sleeping giant were beneath the ground. What you are hearing is not the wind. It is not an echo, and it is not seismic noise. In Chile's Cave of Souls in the year 2025, geologists recorded a sound unlike anything before, a perfect cycle of inhaling and exhaling, each one 37 minutes apart. These are not earthquakes. They are pulses, slow, deliberate, and impossibly synchronized across the globe. From the depths of South America to frozen Siberia, from the gold mines of South Africa to the abyss known as the Devil's Throat in Thailand, 17 caves have been caught breathing in unison. And last April, something terrifying happened. The rhythm changed. The pattern began to quicken, as if the earth itself were waking up. What it changed into has left scientists pale and sleepless, for the sound is no longer only a breath. It has become something far darker. The discovery. The story begins in 2023, when geologists placed sensitive sensors inside Chile's Cave of Souls. The plan was simple: study the way sound waves echo in deep stone, a normal experiment to understand geological formations. But what they found made no sense. Instead of random echoes, the instruments registered a flawless 37-minute cycle. For over 2 months, the cave seemed to breathe like lungs, air drawing in, pausing, then rushing outward again in a constant rhythm. At first, researchers assumed faulty equipment. They replaced the sensors. They used different machines. They even cross-checked with distant laboratories. The result was the same. And then came the most disturbing revelation. When they checked sensors in other parts of the world, they found the exact same cycle repeating in other caves, identical to the second. In Siberia's ice caves, in the endless shafts of South Africa's mines, and even in the Devil's Throat of Thailand, the same 37-minute breath was measured. The synchronization was beyond explanation. Across thousands of miles, these caves pulsed together in millisecond perfect unity. One scientist described it as if the planet itself was breathing, not just the individual caves. NASA's Dr. Lisa Yang, known for her usually calm demeanor, confessed in a private note later leaked to the public that the discovery was, in her words, career-endingly unnerving. But the phenomenon did not stop there. In April of 2025, the cycle suddenly shifted. The breath shortened, accelerating to 33 minutes, then 32. Stranger still, every acceleration always aligned with the time of 3:33 a.m. local time, no matter the location. The moment the clock struck 3:33, the caves drew in air and exhaled again. The choice of time unsettled many, because 3:33 is long associated with the so-called witching hour, a time connected in folklore to supernatural events, time slips, and disturbances between worlds. Was this merely coincidence, or was something far older and more deliberate at work? The nightmare connection. The mystery deepened when neurologists entered the investigation. They began comparing the cave rhythms to known patterns of the human brain. What they found was chilling. The frequency of the breath was identical to human brainwaves during nightmares. In other words, the caves seemed to pulse on the same rhythm as our most terrifying dreams. This was not theory, it was tested. Scientists set up monitoring equipment near the Devil's Throat cave in Thailand, where local villagers had long whispered about curses. As volunteers slept nearby, the instruments detected that the caves pulsed hardest when the sleepers fell into night terrors. When they awoke screaming, the air pressure within the cave intensified, as though the cave itself was feeding on their fear. Explorers who dared to enter the Devil's Throat described the sensation of walls that seemed to flex like the ribs of a massive creature. They swore they could feel the cave moving with each breath, as though they were standing inside the chest of a slumbering beast. One recording taken deep within captured 2 seconds of guttural whispers, sounds so strange that linguists could not place them within any known language family. Yet those who listened insisted the sounds felt eerily familiar, like words they once knew but could not recall. And then came the statistic that turned the investigation into a nightmare. 78% of residents living near these breathing caves began to experience the same dream at exactly 3:33 a.m. Each described a black sun hanging over a broken horizon. They reported paralysis, a feeling of suffocation, and whispers in a tongue they could not understand. If these dreams were random, they should have varied wildly. Instead, they were nearly identical across continents. The question emerged: was the Earth itself dreaming through us? And if so, were we merely its unconscious vessels trapped inside its nightmare? The November countdown. The urgency escalated when leaked documents from NASA and other agencies revealed a horrifying projection. If the acceleration of the breaths continued, by November 11, 2025, the caves would be exhaling not every 37 minutes, but every 3 minutes. That meant the pulse of the Earth would no longer be a background rhythm, but a constant presence, shaking the atmosphere like the panting of something waking from slumber. Even stranger was the connection to UFO phenomena. Independent researchers began comparing the cave pulse data to thousands of reported UFO sightings across decades. What they found stunned them: the timestamps of encounters, when lights appeared, when strange noises filled the air, when abductions were claimed, lined up with the same intervals that the caves pulsed. In some cases, the match was perfect. When the caves breathed, the sky lit up. One might dismiss this as coincidence, but then came the declassified Soviet files. In 1962, Soviet forces investigated a cave in Siberia that reportedly pulsed in the same way. According to the report, the military attempted to silence it by detonating explosives within the chamber. The outcome was catastrophic. An entire nearby village began reporting the Black Sun dream. Families would wake screaming in the night. Farmers abandoned their land. And for months afterward, not a single resident slept without terror. The Soviet Union kept this secret for decades, marking the case as classified until fragments were uncovered after the fall of the USSR. Now, in 2025, the same cave has reawakened, and its rhythm is speeding faster than ever. Governments remain silent, yet whispers among insiders suggest a countdown is underway, one that none of us can stop. November 11th is the date the acceleration reaches its final stage. The breaths will no longer be distant intervals. They will come every 3 minutes, relentless, like the rapid gasps of something struggling to fully awaken. And if the caves are tied to nightmares, UFOs, and strange languages, what exactly will rise when the breath no longer stops? So we return to the questions no one dares to ask. Is the Earth itself alive, its caves serving as lungs in a vast biological system that we have never recognized? If so, why has it only recently begun to stir? Or is this not life as we know it, but something older, an intelligence buried deep beneath stone, using caves as conduits to breathe, to whisper, and perhaps to dream? The evidence is undeniable. 17 caves across the globe pulse in unison. Their rhythm matches our nightmares. Their timing locks to the witching hour. Their acceleration predicts a November date that cannot be ignored. We may be standing on the edge of an awakening, one that humanity is not prepared to face. Perhaps the Earth is dreaming us. Perhaps we are part of its subconscious, flickers of thought in a mind as vast as the planet itself. But if it is dreaming, then something is changing in the dream, and we are powerless to stop it. Soon the breaths will quicken to every 3 minutes, and when they do, we will finally know whether we are living upon a living world or inside the body of something far older, something vast and hidden that is only now opening its eyes. So ask yourself, when you hear the whispers at night, when you wake at 3:33 a.m. with your heart pounding and the vision of a black sun hanging above you, is it your dream, or is it the Earth itself breathing through you? The next pulse is coming. The question is not whether you believe. The question is whether you are ready. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Mystery Central so you never miss a notification when we drop a new mystery. Stay curious, stay mysterious.